Some days, I wake up and it feels like the world has forgotten me. No messages, no one calling, just the hum of silence. The loneliness doesn't shout, it whispers. It sits quietly beside me like an old friend I didn't invite, but who knows me better than anyone else. I walk through the city. Crowds blur around me. Laughter, voices, movement, yet I feel untouched by it all. I wonder if being unseen is worse than being disliked. I'm surrounded, yet isolated. The world moves, and I drift. I sit at a cafe alone. Tables are full of conversations, smiles, shared meals. I stir my tea slowly, pretending I'm busy. I catch my reflection in the window and realize they've been avoiding myself for so long. There was a time I thought being alone meant something was wrong with me. But solitude is not a flaw, it's a mirror. And now I'm learning to stop turning away from my own reflection. In the quietest moments, I begin to hear a truth I'd forgotten. I am still here. Beneath the noise, beneath the doubts, there is someone worth knowing, me. One afternoon, I wandered into a garden hidden behind an old gate. The air smelled of jasmine and old stone. No one was there, just birdsong and wind. I exhaled, and for the first time in days, I felt safe. There is a kind of peace that only comes in solitude. It doesn't rush in. It waits gently, patiently until we're ready to listen. And when it arrives, it doesn't speak. It simply stays. I found an old wooden sign nailed to a tree. Faded, but still legible. Be still. Everything comes to you in time. I sat below it and let time pass, like clouds across the sky. I started bringing a notebook wherever I went. Not to record events, but feelings, thoughts, fragments. Slowly, the pages filled with quiet truths I never made time to hear. One evening, a monk I passed whispered, "Solitude is a teacher." He smiled without waiting for a response. I nodded, not yet fully understanding, but grateful. His words stayed with me long after he disappeared. That night, I dreamed I was walking a narrow mountain path, fog swirling around me. I could not see more than a few steps ahead, yet I kept walking. In the dream, I wasn't afraid, just curious, just quiet. I woke up with a strange sense of calm, like the dream had shown me something important. That we don't need to see the whole path, we just need to keep walking, one step at a time. The world taught me to fill silence with noise. But Buddhist teachings speak of silence as nourishment, a place where the truth can rise not from words, but from stillness itself. I lit a single candle that morning and sat in silence. No mantras, no effort, just breath, just presence. I watched the flame flicker and somehow I felt seen. I used to think healing meant escaping pain, but maybe healing begins when we stop running. When we sit beside the pain, breathe with it, and say, "I'm still here." In solitude, I began to meet parts of myself I had abandoned. The anxious child, the lonely teenager, the exhausted adult. They didn't need fixing, they needed presence. I once feared being alone. Now, I see solitude as a sanctuary, a gentle temple where I can return again and again to remember who I am beneath the noise. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. I didn't understand it until I saw how much I clung to people, to opinions, to the fear of being forgotten. I'm learning to loosen my grip, not to give up, but to allow life to flow like a stream that doesn't resist its own movement. To trust that I don't need to control everything to be okay. One quiet evening, I sat beside a lantern and whispered, "I don't know who I'm becoming, but I want to meet them with kindness. And in that moment, I felt myself soften. The more time I spend with myself, the less I need to prove anything. I no longer chase validation in every interaction. I simply show up present, breathing, whole. I used to believe that being loved meant being surrounded. But now I see love can also mean holding space for yourself, even when no one else is watching. One morning, I found myself smiling without a reason, just the sun warming my face, a bird singing nearby. That moment was enough, more than enough. Not all loneliness is painful. Some forms of being alone feel like returning home away from noise, from pressure, from needing to be anyone but yourself. I stood beneath the full moon one night and whispered my fears into the wind. The moon didn't answer, but it listened, and somehow that was enough. There is no shame in feeling lonely. What matters is how gently we meet ourselves in that space. Not with judgment, but with curiosity, with care. In Buddhist teachings, we learn to sit with suffering, not to fix it, but to see it clearly. Like sitting beside a crying friend, we offer ourselves the same compassion. I've stopped running from silence. Now I welcome it like a teacher. In the quiet, I hear the pulse of life, not out there, but within me. Some days, I still feel heavy. That's okay. The goal isn't to be happy all the time. It's to be real, to stay present, even when it hurts. Healing doesn't arrive in a burst of light. It comes slowly, like dew forming on grass before sunrise. You barely notice it until one day you realize you feel lighter. One evening, I sat beside a still lake. The surface reflected everything: trees, sky, even my tired face. I realized stillness doesn't erase pain, it reveals truth. I had spent so long searching for connection outside myself, but I never asked what it means to be connected within, to listen, to care, to stay. Sometimes I still ache for company, but now I ask, is it true longing or just a fear of facing myself in silence? In Buddhism, we are reminded that nothing is permanent, not joy, not sorrow, not this moment. Even loneliness shifts, like clouds across an open sky. The more I stop grasping, the more peace I find. I don't need to hold the wind. I just need to feel it pass through me. There is wisdom in being alone. Not the kind forced by pain, but the kind chosen with awareness. A soft kind of strength. I wrote a letter to no one, just words from my heart. When I finished, I didn't send it. I just placed it under a stone. Somehow, it felt received. One night, I whispered into the darkness. I am still learning to be gentle with myself. And for the first time, the darkness felt like a blanket, not a burden. No one taught me how to be alone. I had to learn it like a language, slowly, with pauses, with misunderstanding. But now, it speaks to me with quiet kindness. Maybe the journey isn't about finding someone to fill the silence, but about becoming someone who can sit inside it and feel whole. I no longer see solitude as emptiness. I see it as a space, a room within myself I never knew existed. And in that space, I meet a softer, wiser version of me. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. In solitude, I see how my thoughts shape my suffering or my freedom. One morning, I bowed to the rising sun, not out of ritual, but out of gratitude. Gratitude that I am still here, still breathing, still able to begin again. I used to ask, when will someone see me? Now I ask, can I truly see myself with honesty, with tenderness, with care? That question has changed everything. I read a line from a sutra. Let go or be dragged. It stayed with me. Each time I hold too tightly to the past, I remember I have a choice. My loneliness once felt like a curse. Now it feels like a doorway, not to isolation, but to intimacy with myself and with the present moment. Sometimes I still feel the ache, but now I don't fight it. I sit beside it like an old friend. We breathe together and it slowly softens. There is no map for returning to yourself, only presence, only honesty, only small steps, taken one breath at a time. Today, I do not seek to escape the silence. I enter it like a temple, and inside, I hear the quiet voice I had forgotten. You are enough. This is not the end of loneliness, but the beginning of peace. A peace that does not depend on others or outcomes, but blooms quietly within me.